In a quiet apartment, perched above a sleepy, rain-lost city, lived Eve, a gentle soul with curious eyes and a heart full of moonlight. Her space was a pocket of comfort, velvet armchair by the window, soft lamplight, records spinning soft tunes, and the steady whisper of distant traffic. Tonight, the city's hush was deeper, the shadows in every corner richer, and Eve was just preparing for bed when she noticed her treasured silver key, worn smooth by years of gentle touch, was missing from its hook by the door. It was the key her grandfather gave her when she first moved here, promising, "As long as you have this, you will always find your way home." She stood by the frosted window, tracing the city's trembling lights, while a gentle pang of loss fluttered in her chest. Yet, in the comfort of familiar walls, a question stirred: where could the key be? And with it, the whisper of adventure, inviting her to slip between the seams of night and follow the key's call. Eve wrapped herself in her favorite navy coat, pockets still lined with old ticket stubs and crumpled poems, and slipped quietly into the echoing hallway. Her footsteps sounded secretive on the honeyed floorboards. As she passed her neighbor's door, a flicker of light appeared beneath the threshold, accompanied by the faintest hint of violin music. Mrs. Lasky practicing as always, her melody trembling like a question in the air. In the dim stairwell, shadows slanted sharply across the worn concrete, giving every banister and landing a mysterious cast. Right as she reached for the main door, she noticed something unusual, a single silver glint at the edge of the stairwell. A coin, not the key, but a sign she was on the right path. Pausing, Eve recalled her grandfather's stories of how every lost thing leaves a gentle clue for careful eyes. Driven by a mix of hope and curiosity, she stepped outside. The air was cool, the city washed in an otherworldly blue, lending neon glimmers and soft pools of streetlight. Rain had stopped, but the roads still mirrored the heavens. The world beyond her door pulsed with secret life waiting to be discovered. The sidewalk was slick with light, every puddle gleaming with city secrets. Eve moved carefully past shuttered cafes, the air fragrant with memories of coffee and old books. At a street corner beneath a flickering yellow sign, she found the first gentle puzzle. An alley cat, ink black and wise-eyed, sat before a mailbox, blocking the way and refusing to move. Eve knelt, extended her hand, and softly addressed him. "Excuse me, little detective, have you seen my silver key?" The cat's tail flickered once. With a low rumble, he nudged an envelope toward her feet. Inside was a riddle, written in lopsided pencil. Where night sings and shadows play, beneath the old clock, seek your way. With a grateful pat, Eve pressed on. Each street now felt woven with intent, shoes clicking in rhythm with her heart, lamplight slicing through fog, and the city's silence broken only by the gentle coo of night birds. She passed beneath, dripping fire escapes and broken neon, following the riddle's trail. At every turn, she encountered tiny marvels, a curtain fluttering with unseen stories, a child's toy forgotten on a stoop, a postman's lantern arching quietly in the mist. Passing under the old clock tower creaking above the sleepy corner market, Eve paused, her gaze following the slow sweep of luminous hands. There, in the hush below the clock's drowsy ticks, she heard a muffled hum, almost like someone singing beneath their breath. Peering around the corner, Eve found the night custodian, grey in overcoat and gentle eyes, sweeping with an ancient broom. "You are searching for something precious," he intuited, smile soft as lamplight. "This city keeps her secrets safe, but she rewards those who ask kindly." He pointed up to a ledge cluttered with forgotten things, a child's glove, an old photograph, a feather. What is lost can be found if you look with wonder. Eve smiled, thanking him, and climbed the metal stair. She moved patiently, scanning the shelf with keen curiosity, pausing to appreciate each artifact, a reminder that every lost thing once mattered to someone. With a warm sense of connection, she continued, feeling the magic of the city as it unfolded at her feet. Guided deeper into the city's heart, Eve listened to the hums and tremors of after hours, life, the slow water in the gutter, distant rhythm of subway wheels, and the soft chime of her phone with a good luck message from Mrs. Lasky. By the riverside promenade, Eve stopped by a shuttered flower kiosk lit dreamily by a lone lamp. There, she met a young florist arranging twilight blooms in faded buckets. They exchanged a small, knowing smile, wordless but kind, and Eve watched hands gentle as whispers tend to lilies and moonflowers, delicate against the night's mystery. The florist silently offered Eve a pale blue blossom, motioning for her to tuck it into her coat pocket, and pointed to a notice board beside the stand, an old flyer stuck with a silver tack catching the lamp's warm glint. The flyer read, "Lost Key, found by the riverside bench beneath the copper willows." Gratitude warmed Eve's chest as she pressed on, past the kiosk, feeling for the flowers' softness and the city's gentle magic blooming within her. Eve's journey led her beneath a canopy of ancient willows, their leaves trembling like secrets in the breeze, trailing into pools of reflected starlight. There, on a lonely bench, she found her next gentle puzzle, an origami crane perched on the damp wood, folded from blue paper and stamped with a tiny silver crescent. She lifted it carefully, turning it over in her hand. A single line in pencil wound inside its wing. "To open the lock, let your hope be your key." The wisdom made Eve smile. Her search was not only for a lost thing, but for a feeling, something she carried within all along. As she sat breathing in the earthy river air, the whole city seemed to sigh and settle, its depths cradling her with a sense of belonging. She finally understood, sometimes, the act of looking is what helps us find what matters most. As Eve stood, a movement on the wind caught her attention. The alley cat from before padded along the path, pausing to peer up at her with luminous eyes, as if urging her onward. Following the cat's quiet lead, Eve traced a winding path back through the streets, past glowing window panes, whispered alleyways, and the steady tick of distant traffic. Upon returning to her own building, the steps by the main door glimmered. There, in the shadow, rested her silver key. It caught the lamplight just so, brimming with the city's glow. Eve knelt, gently scooped the key into her palm and pressed it to her heart. In that moment, Eve realized the city itself had guided her, a subtle ally in slick pavements and silent lights, in hidden riddles and hopeful strangers. Eve slipped silently inside her building. The familiar hallway now felt enchanted, the gentle hush alive with secrets and memories. On her way upstairs, she passed Mrs. Lasky, who paused her violin playing to offer a warm smile. "Did you find what you were after, dear?" she asked softly, as music spun through the air. Eve nodded, her heart full. In her home once again, Eve lit the lamp beside her velvet chair, key resting in her open palm. She realized that she, too, was a thread in this city's hush, a quiet constant, a kind seeker. With gratitude settling over her like a second blanket, Eve set the key back on its hook and gazed out at the peaceful, rain-washed city, comforted by the adventures. Gentle echoes. The night was winding down. As Eve curled up beneath her heavy quilt, the city lights blinked softly through her window, now somehow closer and kinder. The silver key lay warm in her hand, a promise kept. She let her thoughts drift of the gentle puzzles the friends met and the beauty hiding in patient corners. Rain traced secret patterns on the glass. The hush of comfort settled over her, as if an invisible hand had smoothed every wrinkle from her day. The world felt gentle, trustworthy, and full of hope. With the city holding her safe, Eve slipped easily into sleep, her heart light and her key close. And outside, the city's hush stretched on, guarding every dreamer until morning,